And we are continuing to follow breaking news from UMass Amherst, where students are being asked to shelter in place after a report of an armed person inside a dormitory. We just spoke with the UMass police dispatcher who said a student reported seeing someone with a handgun inside Pierpont dorm. Again, no shots have been fired. No one is hurt. Police have set up a perimeter around this building. This is the UMass website right now, where alerts keep coming through. And 20 News has a link to this website on ours, where you can stay up to date with the latest information. Our website is WWLP.com.
We are live on the University of Massachusetts campus, where we are following breaking news. We are right in front of the Pierpont Hall dormitory, where a shelter-in-place order has been issued for all of the students on campus after a report of either one or two gunmen that are holed up inside of this building. This is the Pierpont Hall dormitory. The UMass Police Department has set up a perimeter. A student called in a report of this gunman, and we do have a description of both of these gunmen. The first man is described as a white man wearing a gray sweatshirt. The second suspect is described as also as a white man wearing a dark colored shirt and a gold chain. Right now, the police are interviewing witnesses. Pierpont Hall dormitory is on the southwest residential area of the campus, right at the intersection of Fearing Street and University Drive. 22 News will continue to follow this story both on air and online at WWLP.com. Breaking news here at the UMass campus in Amherst. Right now, there is a report of one or possibly two gunmen inside of the Pierpont Hall dormitory, which you are looking at right now. The UMass Police Department has set up a perimeter around the dormitory. A student called in the report of these gunmen. One is described as a white man in a gray sweatshirt. The second is described as a white man wearing a dark-colored shirt and a gold chain. Police are interviewing witnesses. There have been no shots fired that we know of, and this is at the corner of Fearing Street and University Drive. We'll continue to follow this story on air and online at WWLP.com.
We continue to follow breaking news from UMass Amherst. The all clear has just been given after reports of an armed person inside Pierpont dorm. This is a live look from the campus. Two different shots here. Now, we first received reports of the possible armed person just before 6 o'clock tonight. The entire campus was ordered to shelter in place. That order was lifted less than 10 minutes ago. 22 News will continue to follow this story all night.
And we continue to follow breaking news out of UMass Amherst, where the entire campus was placed on lockdown after a report of a man with a gun. The lockdown has since been lifted. 22 News working for you with live team coverage.
22 News reporter Matt Karen is live outside of Pierpont Hall, where a student first reported seeing someone with a handgun. And but first, we're going to go to 22 News reporter Alessandra Martinez right now. She was briefed by UMass police and has new information on the suspects and a student who was wounded.
That's right. UMass Police Chief Tyrone Parham said that they received a call at around 5:15 tonight that there was a man seen with a handgun inside the Pierpont Hall. That's one of the residence halls over on campus. Now, they received a call 2 minutes shortly after that saying that there was an assault inside one of the Pierpont dorm rooms. By the time police officers got there, they found a victim with a minor head wound. That victim is now at Cooley Dickinson Hospital recovering tonight. Now, the suspects had fled by the time that they got there, and no shots were reportedly fired. Police described the suspects as two white men. One was wearing a gray sweatshirt. The other was wearing a dark-colored shirt with a gold chain. Police then told students to shelter in place, and they created a perimeter around the building. Now, at 7:13, even 22 News heard it. There was a siren that rang across campus and a PA announcement saying that everything was all clear. Chief Parham says that this was a specifically targeted act. Take a listen to how he described it.
It appears that this was not a random act. This particular assault victim student appeared to have clearly been specifically targeted. We're still trying to figure out exactly how, why, the exact motive, but this was clearly not random.
Police are looking into how the suspects exactly got into the building without an ID card. They're also looking at video footage from the residence halls, and also additional officers are patrolling the campus tonight. Now, this is an ongoing investigation, and they are hoping to have some new information by 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. As soon as we get that information into our newsroom, we'll bring that to you on our next broadcast. And as always, on our website at WWLP.com. Live in Amherst tonight, Alessandra Martinez, 22 News.
That lockdown and shelter-in-place order was a terrifying couple of hours for students, something you would typically see on television, but it played out right here on Western Massachusetts. 22 News reporter Matt Karen live at UMass after talking with students about this frightening night.
UMass students were ordered to shelter in place after a report of two suspects, one with a gun, inside of the Pierpont dormitory. The students got emergency text alerts alerting them to what was happening, and then they started getting phone calls from their family and friends who were worried to see if they were okay.
It was the last thing I considered happening on my average Thursday night, truly.
6 p.m. Thursday, all's quiet on the campus of the state's largest public university. Suddenly, a student calls police to say two gunmen were inside the Pierpont dormitory, part of the Southwest residential complex. Police surround the dorm and then went inside. Students who were outdoors were ordered to immediately take shelter.
I was heading from the Southwest area to the gym that we have, the rec center here on campus, when I suddenly got a bunch of texts, a bunch of calls from my friends, all asking if I was okay. I guess they knew before I did. And before I knew it, there's alarms going off everywhere, and I'm getting emergency texts.
Those texts are just one of the many security measures that kicked in on campus. Here at UMass, they do have security measures in place. They have someone who sits at this security desk just inside the door. The door will not open unless a student scans their student ID. And if there's immediate threat that a student encounters, there's a blue light emergency box system where if they just hit this red button, they'll be connected directly to the police department. Student John Flynn lives on the 3rd floor of Pierpont and said he saw and heard a lot of police.
I woke up and I opened up my door and there was cops in the hallway with rifles.
Students told 22 News they've always felt safe and never thought this could happen.
I wasn't too concerned. It's a little surreal to me being at such a safe school, to have a situation like this go on. It just doesn't seem real.
By 7:15, a campus-wide emergency speaker broadcast the all clear. UMass Police Chief Tyrone Parham wrapped up a news conference just about an hour ago, and from that news conference we learned that there's been one assault victim with just some minor injuries. That person was hit in the head. Those two suspects do not appear to be UMass students. It's not clear, though, how they got into the dorm rooms. The police department will be looking at the surveillance video. Live in Amherst, Matt Karen, 22 News.
When I first heard the security alarm, I was kind of in shock because I've never heard that before. We're kind of just stuck here and not knowing what to do.
As we have told you, the campus lockdown has been lifted, but while it was in place, we spoke with one UMass sophomore who locked herself inside of her dorm room for safety. She said around 6 p.m. students were told to all close their blinds and wait for further instruction. She told 22 News it was hard not knowing where the armed person was as she was trying to call her family to let them know that she was safe.
They're not only affecting us, the students in the residence buildings, but our families who are hearing about it and freaking out from my mom's in Florida right now and she's freaking out. It's not okay.
Now, 22 News has been covering this story for you all night. We will continue to bring you any new developments both on air and online at WWLP.com. Police have made an arrest after a UMass student was assaulted in their dorm room last night. 22 News will have a live report from Amherst with the latest. Good evening and welcome to 22 News at 5. I'm Juliana Mazza. New information after a UMass student was robbed and assaulted inside the Pierpont dormitory last night. 22 News reporter Matt Karen is live at UMass Amherst with the newest information.
22 News has confirmed that 19-year-old William McCallan has been arrested. He turned himself in to the Framingham Police Department just hours ago. And just hours before that, UMass police issued a warrant for his arrest. He was one of the two suspects accused of Thursday's armed robbery and assault on a UMass student inside the Pierpont dormitory. UMass Police Chief Tyrone Parham told 22 News surveillance video shows the suspects knew the victim and that he allowed them access inside the dormitory. The victim was hit in the head and today was released from the hospital. The chief told 22 News he's increased security.
We take this seriously, the safety of the community, and we have actually added additional police staff on today. Particularly in the southwest area, is to just ensure everyone's safety. We have absolutely no reason to believe that they're anywhere in our community.
Now, police are still looking for that second suspect. We can also confirm that one of the suspects did have a gun. It was shown, but it was never fired. William McCowan is scheduled to be arraigned on his charges sometime tonight. Live in Amherst, Matt Karen, 22 News.
A man allegedly responsible for an incident that caused a lockdown on the UMass campus last night has turned himself into police.
Framingham Police Lieutenant Stephen Cronin told 22 News that this man, William McCown, surrendered at their police station early this afternoon. Last night, a report of a hostile person with a gun at Pierpont Dorm caused students across the campus to shelter in place for about an hour and a half while police investigated. McCown will be arraigned Monday in Eastern Hampshire District Court in Belchertown. He is facing charges of assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, assault and battery, and armed robbery. Now, last night's armed assault of a student is forcing UMass to take another look at improving dorm security. 22 News reporter Matt Karen is live at UMass to show us how that system is less than perfect.
In fact, it may be the problem. UMass says they educate students not to let anybody else into the building unless they know them. We did learn today that in this case, the victim did know the suspects. UMass Amherst, today a bustling university. 24 hours ago, a ghost town. Students on lockdown, a dorm room assault.
I saw a kid, he had a cut on his head, he was bleeding. And I came over and I knocked one of the kids out of the way and kind of like separated the fight. Brought the kid who was bleeding into my room and cleaned him up a little bit.
UMass says 24-hour dorm security may not be practical.
It's expensive to have 24-hour security in 50 residence halls. We do try and educate students not to let people into the dorms unless they know them.
And the victim did. Students agree it's a hard problem to solve.
It's a hard solution to find, you know. It's like you don't want to be rude and slam the door in somebody's face and be like, no, scan your own card.
UMass dorm security booths are only staffed after 8 p.m. The current policy allows a student to scan their ID to unlock their dorm. The upgrades that UMass has made to dorm security are not foolproof. The doors are locked 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But as long as a student who lives here scans their ID, this door unlocks, and then whoever it is can walk in right behind them. We've seen it happen. One scans in, and 2 more follow. It happened again and again.
This will probably, be an issue that needs further review as we move forward.
UMass spent $2 million upgrading dorm security in 2012 after a UMass student was raped. That also happened inside the Pierpont dorm. Live in Amherst at UMass, Matt Karen, 22 News.